so excited to be live with you yet again, talking about human design and the gene keys. So real quick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say thank you so much for all of your patronage, for being a subscriber, and also for being a member. It means the world to me, and I am so grateful to all of you, and I'm so excited to share this with you. So this is going to be a reading of the of Gate 1 of Human Design and the first gene key. So real quick, let me just give you a little lowdown on what Human Design and the gene keys are. Human Design is a self-discovery system that combines ancient wisdom, the I Ching, Kabbalah, astrology, and the chakra system with modern science, quantum physics, and genetics. It provides a personalized body graph based on your birth data, revealing your energetic blueprint, strengths, challenges, and life purpose. It focuses on how to make aligned decisions through your unique strategy and authority. The Gene Keys is an evolutionary tool derived from human design and the I Ching. It explores your genetic and intergenetic potential through 64 archetypal keys, encouraging self-awareness and personal growth. It emphasizes contemplation as a pathway to unlock higher frequencies of living, helping you transcend shadow patterns, embody your gifts, and connect with your life's purpose. Both systems guide you toward living an authentic life and embracing your unique design. And I am sorry, I am still harboring a cold. I'm getting over it. But I'm still a little bit congested, so I do apologize for that. And thank you so much to whoever is on right now. Okay, so Gate 1 of Human Design is self-expression. For the I Ching, it's the creative. For astrology, it's Scorpio. And biology is liver. Gate 1 is the most yang of the hexagrams. Yang, yang. Gang, gang. If anybody watches Theo Von, you'll get it. This is a powerful energy that pushes on a person's spirit if they don't fulfill their need to express themselves creatively. This energy will wake you up at night with the thought that there is something you are supposed to be doing with your life. And if you don't know what that is, you can become incredibly anxious. Gate 1 by itself is always seeking more energy to get this expression to the throat. It may have to get it from others in collaboration, but it will not feel comfortable or fulfilled unless it finds a way to express itself. People with this energy want to do more than volunteer for a blood drive. They want to change the world. And they have the motivation to do it, provided they use this energy correctly. There is a tremendous amount of knowing in this channel. There is a knowing about the right contribution at the right time. Someone with Gate 1, like me, may have to wait for recognition and the right energy to move the contribution of their soul out into the world. Waiting is hard, but it is crucial to have the correct impact. And then the first gene key from the Gene Keys by Richard Rudd. From entropy to syntropy. Programming partner. The second gene key. Codon ring. The ring of fire. 1 and 14. Physiology. Liver. Amino acid. Lysine. The first shadow. Entropy. The dance of Shiva. Once upon a time, perhaps even an eon ago, in a land now become a myth, a young man sat in a deep reverie beside a great river. Although this river no longer exists today, Legend tells us that its descendant may well be the great Yangtze, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, river, which flows through the heart of the land now known as China. Our young man gazed out upon the sinuous, soft waves as they lapped the shores by his feet, when all of a sudden a small turtle emerged from the great green motherlode, and drawing itself proudly out of the water, sat down beside him to share his gentle contemplation. For some considerable time, neither party smoke. That's a Freudian slip. Neither party spoke, until finally our young man, evidently on the cusp of some great universal epiphany, exclaimed to the little turtle in a great and wondrous sigh, "Ah, little one, what's it all about then?" Rather to his surprise, the turtle revolved in a half circle and nonchalantly turned its back on the young man, while continuing to sun itself lazily and silently. The young man gazed intently at the little creature's back and the intricate interlocking patterns and plates of its shell drying in the spring sunshine. As he gazed, a strange thing began to occur to him. The more he looked, the more he understood the nature of his question. And so it was that he gave himself up to the moment and gazed with all his heart at the little turtle's back. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, everything began to evanesce and disappear. First the turtle, then the cosmos, and finally the young man himself. It is said that when the young man regained consciousness several hours later, the turtle was gone. Ever since that day, humanity has had a means of understanding every aspect within the universe. It was discovered in the interlacing patterns on a humble turtle's back, and in time it became arguably the most profound knowledge ever discovered by a human being. It became the I Ching. The Chinese I Ching is one of the greatest spiritual books of all time. Written down thousands of years ago by a legendary Chinese emperor called, and I'm going to totally butcher this, Fu Hezi. It encapsulates a binary code that charts all the seasons and cycles of life. In the book, these life processes were measured by a simple code of 6 lines, either male or female, and mixed together in a total of 64 combinations. The very first archetype that was represented, known as the first hexagram, consisted of 6 male lines, all in a column. This archetype was seen as the primary code for all creative life in the universe. Hi! Its opposite, the second hexagram, consisted of 6 female lines in a column, and it was seen as the primary code for directing all creative life in the universe. Here, right at the beginning of your journey into your own DNA, hides the greatest secret of all, the secret dynamics of duality. The other thing that we discover right here at the beginning is that in the I Ching, and therefore in life, it is always the women who are in charge. As you enter more and more deeply into the mysteries of the Gene Keys, you will gradually begin to understand what is truly meant by the statement. The I Ching is a mathematical mirror of the genetic code, and one can actually reduce all 64 archetypes down to 4 essential principles. These are captured at the beginning and at the end of the I Ching sequence itself. The first and second gene keys and the 63rd and 64th gene keys. These 2 pairs are rather like the prologue and epilogue to the great book itself. Upon these 4 principles, or pillars, life is built. The lower frequency of the first gene key, the first shadow, is captured perfectly by the word entropy. A simple definition of entropy is a measure of the disorder or unavailability of energy within a closed system. More entropy means less energy available for doing work. Modern physics and the laws of thermodynamics are based upon the basic perceived law of entropy. According to what we can see through the mind, the universe appears to have a single direction. It moves from order towards chaos. This first shadow keeps the entire planet living at a low level of frequency. It is like a blanket thrown across our civilization. According to our mind, we cannot do anything about entropy. That is our chief problem. Thank you so much for the like. I appreciate that. Human beings do not generally accept themselves, and when you convert entropy into human feeling, it becomes a kind of deep numbness or sense of gloom. Entropy is in effect the opposite of love. If we learn anything from these first two primary gene keys, it is about the nature of duality itself, which is that life cannot exist without polarity. The entire notion of the spectrum of consciousness at the heart of the Gene Keys revelation depends upon the polarity of the shadow at one end of the spectrum and the city at the other. Each gives birth to the other. Entropy is the black hole to creativity's white hole. And this first gene key is about creativity. The secret to harnessing creativity actually lies in the first shadow. In fact, the secret to every gene key in this book lies in harnessing and accepting the energy latent within each of the 64 shadows. In grasping this fact right here, in these two primary gene keys, you truly prepare yourself for the voyage to come. Ice break. Yes, I do not suggest vaping while you're sick. So do as I say, not as I do. What is the meaning then of entropy in your life? As was just mentioned, entropy manifests in human beings as numbness. And this numbness is actually an extremely fertile state of awareness. First of all, you have to understand that it is a chemical state. And secondly, it comes on suddenly, and accepted and fully embraced, it passes just as suddenly. Entropy and creativity are an eternal dance played out within the universe we inhabit. Many mythologies have captured this dance. The dancing figure of Lord Shiva from the Hindu pantheon is just one of these figures whose dance both destroys and creates all that exists. We do not know exactly why we humans feel gloomy on certain days and happy on other days, despite our thousands of theories. Just as there is external weather, there is also internal weather, and it differs in every human being. Yet it is the very unpredictable nature of these internal weather patterns that so many of us struggle with. When you feel the movement of creation inside you, you are happy. When you feel entropy inside you, you are no longer happy. This continual, this continual interplay of energy in your life makes you want to always maintain the happy side and escape the gloomy side. Herein lies the greatest flaw in your nature and the distortion of the true energy of entropy into depression. The first shadow appears in your life whenever you feel flat or sad or low. This is a chemical process that the body enters into, And if you try to comprehend it, find a reason for it, or worst of all, try to fix it, then the natural process will not complete itself cleanly. If you resist this state mentally, one of the great dangers is that you will interfere with its process and fix it inside yourself as depression, because this first shadow triggers the chemical processes that can lead to depression. Most depressive states are the result of resisting certain shadow frequencies within our genetic makeup. Depending on your individual genetic predispositions, you may be more or less prone to feeling low than others. Generally speaking, the more creative a person you are, the more deeply you are affected by this kind of melancholic chemistry. The state of entropy is rather like a vacuum state. Your system is recharging, so the energy within you withdraws into a kind of stasis. The resulting feelings, or lack of feeling, and or enthusiasm provide a delicate environment for something quite special to occur. If you are patient enough to allow it, this something is the creative process. In other words, your low energy means that something intangible is gestating inside you, even though you cannot yet see it. Only when this state mutates to its expressive stage will you see what the process is about. These low times in your life are therefore very special times, and they generally require aloneness and withdrawal in order for the seeds sprouting inside you to germinate. The worst enemy at such times is interference from your own mind, or indeed someone else's mind. Wondering what is wrong with you. The programming partner of this first shadow is the second shadow of dislocation, which can only further worsen your state of mental turmoil if you try to intellectually understand what is happening to you. The second shadow tends to fuel the fire of your anxiety, since it gives you the feeling that everything is out of sync with the whole, even though this is not the case. Because of this first shadow, humanity as a species is not nearly as creative as it could be. The reason for this is the weight of the collective denial of the natural phases of entropy that individuals experience. The shadow can only be resolved and accepted at an individual level, which takes a great leap of courage, patience, and trust. When you suddenly find yourself blind and lost, the best thing to do is to stay still and allow it to pass gently through your system, giving it the minimum mental attention possible. This deep acceptance of entropy as natural to your life will eventually allow you to unlock its true potential and in time transcend it entirely. Repressive nature, depressive. Thank you so much for the like, I appreciate that. The introverted nature of this shadow inevitably leads to depression. States of depression can be caused by the freezing of a low-frequency emotional state due to mental collapse rooted in fear. Once fear takes over the physical system, the entropy goes on pulling more and more energy away from the surface of one's life. Such states can occur at different levels. Some can be permanent, others sporadic. Some can leave one bedridden, others can simply take away the luster in one's eye. Once a depressive state has been fixed, it can only be broken by the individual and without help. The individual must face down the very fear that caused the depression and shift the frequency of their attitude on all levels. Reactive nature, frenetic. The reactive side of this shadow manifests as a frenetic urge to escape the way one is feeling at all costs, And I think this is something that we can all definitely identify with. Instead of moving in harmony with entropy by closing their doors and being alone, these people immediately increase their activity in contact with others. They become frenetic in their bid to suppress what is going on inside them, and can become engaged in wild schemes or locked in monotonous patterns that quickly undermine their health. Such people put themselves in great danger because they are moving in the opposite direction from the chemistry of their body. Their urge to escape their feelings opens them to all kinds of illnesses in their body that would otherwise never have troubled them. The first gift, freshness. The beauty of melancholy. In most of the ancient creation myths, one of the first manifestations of life is seen as light. In the Bible and Genesis, this is forever implanted in the Western psyche through the Claytian call, "Let there be light." This first gift is rooted in this notion of light as the manifestation of creative energy in the universe. One of the other common creation myths is based upon sound, captured in the above words, spoken out loud by God in the Bible. Here in this first gift, we have the bringing together of these two essential principles of light and sound. The third great symbol of creativity unites these two principles through the symbol of fire. Fire is perhaps the greatest creative archetype since it not only consumes, but also transforms. So very similar to the phoenix rising from the ashes. While the second gene key indicates your true direction in life, its programming partner, the first gene key, provides the actual energetic thrust to get you there. Every time an individual moves cleanly through their low-frequency chemical process, they reenact this creation myth. Out of the darkness, suddenly light emerges, and as if by magic, the low-energy field switches and is experienced as joy. This joy comes as unexpectedly as the sadness does, but with the joy also comes the need to express it, and especially to express it through your voice or your art. The first gift is called the gift of freshness because whatever emerges out of its numbing chemistry field is absolutely new. Every word for every gene key is highly specific. And the word freshness is different, for example, from the word newness. Freshness conveys aliveness, as though it refers to something burning with an inner fire. This is exactly how people empowered by the first gift express themselves, as though surrounded by a halo of something brought with them from another world. This first gift can perform wonders within small organizational groupings. As you raise your frequency through this gift, you become a person likely to be singled out by others as a natural-born leader. At the same time, you will find yourself reluctant to assume any leadership role, since you are not in the least bit interested in being followed by others. All the first gift of freshness really wants is to express itself fully through you, so that you can enjoy watching the impact you have on others. As this gift awakens inside your DNA, you will find that you automatically inject life and light into any group of people you are a part of. For these reasons, it is the domain of the family, compact team, or intimate group where the first gift is designed to excel. Freshness is a gift that needs the right environment in order to bloom. It needs open-minded people who give you center stage exactly when you need it. After the fresh energy has been released and your creative impact has been felt, you will usually need to retreat as quickly as possible in order not to spoil the power of your release. Your secret lies in the knowledge that fresh flowers soon wilt. For just as your light can infiltrate any group, bringing inspiration and joy, so can your melancholy equally draw energy away from the very same group. The gift of freshness relies on one immortal truth. Creativity can never be controlled. It simply comes when it comes, and when it is absent, there is nothing for you to do but wait and relax. And this is super important. Through the codon ring known as the Ring of Fire, this first gene key is chemically bonded to the 14th gene key, whose shadow is compromise. When your creative fire is burning, everyone wants to gather around you and partake of your warmth and inspiration. But when your fire dies to a mere flicker, it is as though you become unnoticeable. If you then try to rekindle your creativity through force of will, you will only end up making huge compromises, both with yourself and with others. For you, life is either fully engaged or completely at rest. If your life is marked by such a creative pulse, you will probably have a strong genetic activation within this first gene key. As such, you are here to dissolve the first shadow by being a living example of the unpredictable power of the creative process. Your true power lies in your ability to be alone with yourself and to trust in the power of your own uniqueness and timing. Out of every dark hole into which you dive comes forth a sally of startling and profound creativity. The genius of freshness is to bring something to the world that no other has ever seen before and that no one else could replicate. That the very first gene key in the book of life inside you is dedicated to creativity speaks volumes about the human species as a whole. We are designed to overcome the shadow states inside us so that our true genius can emerge and we can add our spirit to the world. It is through individual creativity that all diseases and negative patterns will eventually leave this planet. This is the true meaning of freshness, to be a clear vessel for the creative process so that evolution can move through you and find its way towards a permanent state of eternal love, beauty, and unity. The first city, beauty. The Promethean fire. As we have seen, the first gift is rooted in the power of light and fire. Here at the Siddhic frequency, this light is all that exists. And as it shines through human awareness, it becomes what we call beauty. Beauty is the reason for life, and life is the reason for beauty. As one of the four great pillars of the cosmos, whenever the city blossoms within a human, that person's life becomes a symbol of a directional shift within humanity as a whole. Therefore, it has a great importance within the genetic matrix, even at the gift frequency. These four cornerstone gene keys mentioned earlier, the first, second, 63rd, and 64th, at their highest level, represent a divine archetypal foundation that has been sensed by many different cultures and is embodied in the mythical literature of many diverse pantheons. These four principal energies are known to Kabbalists as and I'm going to totally ruin this, Hayath HaKadosh, or four holy creatures, and are also embodied in the Tetragrammaton, the so-called mystical name of God. Sorry, God. The ancient Gnostic traditions worshipped them as the four elements. Native Americans knew them as the four directions, and the Egyptians carved them into the figure of the Sphinx. The Chinese I Ching, which is a keystone of the 64 gene keys, has at its foundation the 4 bigrams, universal principles that underpin the entire foundation of life in our cosmos. In our genetics, the principle of these 4 archetypes is reflected by the 4 bases, the 4 key letters out of which all genetic language is created. In light of all these correlations, we can see the great importance of this first city to our species as a whole. In human beings, the first city is beauty, and as with all cities, it is also reliant upon its programming partner, the second city of unity. Beauty lies in the unity of all. True beauty, when manifested and realized in a human being, presupposes a state of union with the totality. This union, or oneness, is not like anything we can imagine. Its beauty lies in the fact that it is simply so natural that it cannot be expressed. Every time it has been expressed, it has been misunderstood. The only way to understand the citic state is to die into it, and that means you must die into beauty. The moment we humans look at something or feel something and proclaim it as beautiful, we have divided from it and left the state of unity. This is not true beauty, although obviously it has its reflections on the lower planes. True beauty is emptiness. There is no one to comprehend it and nothing to feel it. It simply does not exist, and this is its paradox. It is not true beauty if it can be spoken of, copied, or shared. It is unique and inexplicable. Beauty is the expression of unity in human form. At a lower frequency, we can only comprehend beauty through light or sound, whether that be a beautiful face, a sunrise, or a piece of music. Our notion of beauty is always rooted in the presence of something rather than in its absence. True beauty has a greater connection to absence, to darkness or silence, but even these words cannot approach it being rooted as they are in the world of duality, language, and opposites. Ice break. It sounds like I'm saying icebreaker or ice break. When the first city dawns inside you, everything in this cosmos is experienced as beautiful and fresh. Even the shadow state is beautiful. In beauty, nothing lies outside the unity of everything. Everything is experienced as a unique creative expression of this unity. Everything shines and drips with the essence of its uniqueness, and yet at the same time, it all shares a single source. When beauty catches fire inside you in this way, you cannot really become a teacher of others because you now no longer have anything to teach. How are you possibly to teach the experience of beauty? It is a fire that can only be embraced. Thus, the only fate left to you is to live your life as an example of what humanity will one day become, and your expression of that beauty and form will become a testament to our common future. To be awakened in this way is to become a great inspiration to humanity. In the past, many such people have suffered greatly at the hands of the masses. To be so dangerously unique and beautiful is to draw fire from the forces of jealousy and denial. The city of beauty is incomprehensible to normal consciousness, as it can only live out its uniqueness without compromise, no matter what happens to it. Thus, it endures in our mythologies and often becomes attributed only to our deities. It is a creative Promethean fire of the gods that is stolen by those few who have the courage to be obliterated by it. It is the primal masculine creative force within our universe and is embodied in the great lingam, or penis of Lord Shiva, as well as our great cultural symbols of male fertility. Ironically, beauty becomes enshrined as something outside of us, of something we should aspire to, of something we can never really attain whilst alive. Richard Rudd is from across the pond, so he uses words like whilst. In truth, beauty is our nature. It is right here, right now, inside each and every one of us. It is paradoxically found both in our absolute ordinariness and in our utter extraordinariness. You will recall that the foundation of this first gene key at the shadow frequency is the field of entropy, in which energy ceaselessly moves from order to chaos. While at the acidic level of frequency, where frequency itself is obliterated and transcended, we find ourselves in an internal field of syntropy. Syntropy refers to the movement of energy within infinite dimensions, all imbued with consciousness and all united by order and love. When the inner divine fire is released through your DNA, you become capable of miraculous power. The codon ring of fire unites the two cities of beauty and bounteousness, the first and 14th gene keys. As such, it represents the energetic germ at the heart of creation and the purpose of existence itself, to create that which is endlessly beautiful and to imbue it with the awareness that is endlessly beautiful. So affirmations for gate 1. Every day is a new creation. My greatest contribution to the planet is to be the fullest expression of myself as myself. The fulfillment of my divine potential is important for the evolution of humanity. I trust the process and release any fears that I may have about failing my life mission, quote unquote. I am on task and in the right place, making the right contribution. The following are questions that you can kind of think about in relation to what we just went over when it came to the first gate of human design and the first gene key. Are there times when you hold yourself back from fully expressing yourself? What would it take for you to step into your fullest expression? What does the word legacy mean to you? Are you leaving an authentic legacy? Are there limiting beliefs and experiences preventing you from expressing your authenticity? What do you need to do to release them? Now, what I love about human design and the gene keys is that it is constantly pushing us forward. The wording and the language is often misunderstood, and it's incredibly poetic. So it's not something that's super literal. It's just as with anything else, take it or leave it as you will. It's something that has helped me tremendously, has helped my clients tremendously, and I hope will help you tremendously as well. Thank you so much for joining me on this live stream. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and or join for more content that is not available to the public. Thank you again, and I'll see you on the next one. Be well, stay wild as well. Bye.